Hello and welcome. And this is your first session of a new module, which basically is module number 5, which says the living world. When I say living world, it has chapters of biology. And trust me, in NIS, biology actually has more weightage. And we've seen the recent question papers than even physics and chemistry. So physics, chemistry would be 30, and biology is almost 40% of your paper. Without dwelling too much on how the paper pattern would be, let me jump and show you the entire first chapter and a small snippet of what do we expect to learn. The first chapter is called Classification of Living Organism. And as we do, one of the most important word that you will come across in classification would be the word called biodiversity. You see, all the organism you see around, from the butterfly to the jellyfish, from the koala in Australia to the penguins in the Antarctic, to the white tigers and the lilies, the sharks in the ocean, the birds in the sky, all of these organisms is what biodiversity is all about. And when you understand, it's perhaps the easiest chapter, the best chapter in terms of getting introduced on the world of organism around. Bio, as in biology also, means life, and diversity is the variety. So this chapter essentially talks about the variety that we see in our life around. This is a question that I usually encourage you all to know, because these are 2 mark questions that do come and you must be very quick to answer it. The good part about this is it immediately jumps into a very interesting topic called nutrition. Way you feed yourself, as a kid, your mama would be feeding you breakfast, but the world around us is different. There are two kind of organism based on the way they consume food. And that one is called autotroph, which is basically all the people who make their own food. And autotrophs are plants. And then those organisms which consume food made by others. So the cow eat the plants. So the cow and all of us are heterotroph. But this is a very loose definition. How do I define the autotroph and heterotroph further? You see, there are two kind of autotrophs. One is chemotroph, as the word chemical chemo comes from that word. So they use chemical reaction to make the food, like some kind of bacteria you see here. But most of the plants in autotroph, which are producers, are, how do you use photosynthesis, which is phototroph. Don't be worried. Chemo and photo. Photo is sun, as in light, and chemo is chemical, which is bacteria. Heterotroph has multiple the divisions also, but not too difficult. So example, the most easy one is holotrophic. Holotroph are people which eat other organisms, your carnivores, your animals, any animal species that eat anything else, any other living thing, even plants, they eat something. Then there is saptotrophic. Saptotrophic are people or organisms that feed on dead, decaying organism. And you see the organism that we see here is fungus. Fungi as in plural. So these are saptotrophic. Remember, they sap the energy. That's an easy way to remember saptotrophic. And yes, when you are obtaining food digested by others, like even it could be fungus, mostly, roundworms, protozoas, and bacteria, they are basically, the word we use is parasitic. They are parasites. We talk about the word parasite in a simple word. So quickly recap before I go to a beautiful understanding of this is autotrophs. So we've got heterotrophs, and then you've got different divisions. You can just look into your book. The module 5 is so beautiful, so easy to understand. Then we get into the world which supports life. So this is a sphere. The earth is a sphere, and we have got biosphere. The sphere, the part of the earth which supports life, is biosphere. And all these, are your 2 mark terminal, at the end of it, in text question, and you will know what is diversity, what is biosphere. So biosphere can be divided into multiple parts. The entire biosphere, you have atmosphere on top, hydrosphere, hydro is a word which is for water, and lithosphere, as in land and mountains, there we have got. All of these together. So biosphere is a major chunk, right? Your oceans, your mountain, your rivers, your snow, all these are biosphere. Then within the biosphere is a geographical region, correct? That is an ecosystem. So an ecosystem is like now the mountain area or the Amazon rainforest. That's an ecosystem. And then in the ecosystem, you have different kind of plants and animal, which are the species. And then we have got diversity of species. So many species that we know of. So look at this. The whole community, the entire thing is a sphere, a biosphere. And then you've got a habitat, which is a small community. And in that, you have a plant community. I always go back to an easy example of a pond. The entire pond is a small ecosystem also, right? In that there are frogs and fishes and water lilies. This is the way our world is divided. This is a long-term question, and a question that is usually asked is the level of biodiversity. What are the biodiversities you see? So you see, you've got a lot of ecosystem within the biosphere, the ecosystem, right? And for example, I said land ecosystem. So you got grassland, you got rainforest, you got desert. These are terrestrial, on land, terrestrial. Aquatic, coral reef, oceans, freshwater lakes, aquatic. Artificial, we made the smaller ones, aquariums and paddy crop and fields like that. These are the ecosystems with the example. Once you go through these presentations and you understand what we're talking about, you look at it from a very holistic perspective, it becomes very easy. So this is the biodiversity that we talk about. Again, a very interesting question, a question that is, an in-text question. What are the 3 levels of biodiversity? So you've got ecosystem, you got species, and you got genetics. And the last chapter of this module, one of the most beautiful chapters, talk about DNAs and all the genes inside. But as of remember, ecosystem, species, and genetics, it's very simple. What is genetics? It's our cells. Small cells come together, they make chromosomes. You've got 23 pair of chromosomes, X and the Y chromosomes come together. And then each set of chromosomes will give you, so chimpanzees are 1 chromosome, human beings are another chromosome. Kangaroos are 1 chromosome, alligators are 1 chromosome, they become species. All the species come together and live together in a place where we call ecosystem. So many ecosystems we learn about. Terrestrial ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, or it could be even man-made ecosystem. I hope you're enjoying, you're learning, and you're benefiting from it. So now there are patterns around the world. For example, why don't we find camels in cold region, or why don't we find kangaroos in Africa? Because the ecosystems are different. So these are called biodiversity hotspots. So around the world, rhinos are only found in Africa, in Sumatra and Assam in India. So these are the biodiversity hotspots, where some hotspots are very valuable. African regions are very valuable. You have certain species only available there. So hotspot is that region which have different kind of organism. Mostly these organisms are not found anywhere else. For example, if you look down south, Australia is the most richest biodiversity hotspot. Koalas, kangaroos, marsupials, these are animals not found anywhere but in Australia. Then there is Madagascar. You remember the cartoon movie? Yes, Madagascar have lemurs. Madagascar has a hotspot of chameleons, which are not found anywhere else in the world. So you understand that these are areas, regions we look into, and that is how the entire world is divided. The last part talks about little more detailed conversation around now classification. How do I classify the organism? Usually, there are 3 big words. Remember, so far we did ecosystem and biodiversity. Now, organism can be classified in 3 domains. Number 1, they are called bacteria, or we call it archaebacteria. There is eubacteria. These are single cell organism. Archaebacteria are those which live in high temperature, heat-loving bacteria. And then we have eukarya. Think of euphoria. Everybody is happy. Eukarya has kingdoms of animal, animalia, plant, plantia, protistisa, and fungi. So these are your main kingdoms. Now, in the kingdom of plant, so you have eukarya, remember, eubacteria, archaebacteria, and eukarya. These look very difficult, but they're not difficult actually. There are 5 kingdoms under eukarya, and we're going to discuss them. Number 1, the easiest one we know, or the top one is animal. Don't get into too many animals. We've got mammals, we've got reptiles, we've got birds in them. So basically vertebrates, invertebrates, we've got all mammals around. We are mammals. So is, a polar bear is a mammal. And then we have reptiles, crocodiles, alligators, snake, amphibians are there. We've got birds around, insects. So all of these are kingdom number 5, animal. Kingdom number 4, plant kingdom. So we got all different kind of plant. These are basically, ferns, mosses. These are just names, don't worry, but this is number 4. These are 5 kingdoms we talk about, right? Number 3 is my fungi. So don't worry, this is just fungus are very poisonous. You know about mushrooms, part of this. So these are your mushroom kingdom, the fungi. Kingdom number 2 is Protistacea, which is single cell organism. So algae comes into it, all the red, brown, green algae. Examples if you want to write. And finally, 1 single cell, no cell wall, no nucleus, well nucleus form, which is Monera. Monera, Protistacea, fungi, plant and animal kingdom. Ooh, we almost ran through our chapters and we did a good job, by the way. I think if you learn these, you almost have done an entire understanding of this whole species. Now, when I have to understand a species, I have to give them names. Okay, so I saw a bear. For a scientist, what bear did you meet? What was the color? So the differentiation of animals into different categories is called taxonomy. So you've got different kind of taxonomy. Bear, as an example, is a big taxonomy called Ursa. All right. Then you have Ursa's family. They are carnivores. So this is a bigger taxonomy. So in carnivore, I can have tigers and lions also. I have mammals. In mammal, I have squirrels also and humans also. Then there is, do you have spinal cord, so chordata? And finally, it's the kingdom of animal world. So this is the taxonomy that we know. Carlos Linnaeus, he's the person credited with giving us the taxonomy of the world. And then you have a lot of things. So we've got kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus. Just an example, the lion or the cat family is feline. The dog family is canine. The horse family is equine. These are examples you write of taxonomy. And this is how you understand this entire chapter from eukarya, one domain, to animalia, right down to species. Our biodiversity ends here. Wish you all the best. Hope you enjoy. You continue your learning path and biology becomes your favorite topic as it is mine. All the best from Golden Sparrow. Everybody, thank you so much.